Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name's Elaine and I'm Ellie Welly Stitcher, both here on YouTube and also over on Instagram. So it's good to be back. I've missed you all. I've been missing for 3 weeks now and it seems like ages, absolutely ages. And I'll kind of explain why I've been gone for 3 weeks instead of my normal 2 as we go along. But first of all, welcome back to those of you that are returning to watch me again. Thank you very much for coming back, and welcome to my new subscribers. So this is a channel about cross stitch, and sometimes I talk about knitting as well. I have got a bit of knitting to show you today. Okay, so what we're going to cover off today is I have got my WIP update for you, and I've made quite a bit of progress on some of my projects and not much on some of the others, but we'll go through that as we go along. I've got a bit of haul, not very much but a little bit. I've got some Stitchy mail, so I've received some more floss drops from people, which has been marvellous. I've got a knitting finish to show you, and I've got a book that I'm going to share with you as well, and I haven't talked about reading on my channel before, so that's something new for me. And then I'll talk about going forward, and I'm not going to talk too much about plans today because I'm going to talk about that more in my next video, I think. Okay, so I haven't got any cross stitch finishes to show you, so I think that's it for those, maybe probably for this year. Actually, oh no, I'm hoping to have one finish by the end of the year. But yeah, we're all finished out for the minute, so yeah, I thought I would try and look a little bit Christmassy for you today. So I've even put a bit of lippy on, which I don't usually wear very much makeup, so, and I think this is the first time I've actually put lipstick on in probably about 2 years, because we've been wearing masks and that hasn't really been worth wearing lipstick. So, but I thought, you know, Christmas is coming, I'll make a bit of an effort and I'll put a bit of makeup on today. So I've also put on a Christmassy jumper, so we have, you can't see it very well I know, but it says let it snow, this one, and I've got my Christmas earrings on as well. So I feel quite festive now. I'm in my craft room, so I haven't got any decorations in here. I have got a big tree in my lounge. I love decorating Christmas. I don't go massively overboard on it, but I do love decorating my Christmas tree. So I've got 2 Christmas trees downstairs, a little one in my conservatory and then the big one in the lounge. But my lounge is quite dark because the conservatory is on the back of the lounge, and so where the conservatory is really light and airy, the lounge is quite dark as a result of that, so it's not really a good spot for filming. So so that's why we can't film in there, and I can't have a Christmassy backdrop. So, and I haven't got any cross stitching finished that is remotely Christmassy. So so maybe next year I might have some Christmas finishes to show you in the background. Okay, so let's get into some stitching first of all. So we will start with the one I always start with. So we'll start with Unicorns, Valleys of Waterfalls, which is Haid. So that's Heaven and Earth Design for anybody who doesn't know. Oh, and for anyone that doesn't know, WIP stands for Work in Progress. So this is Unicorns, Valley of Waterfalls. I will put a picture in of where you saw it last time and also what it looks like when it's finished. And here we are with it now. So I've done just over 1,000 stitches on this since you last saw it. I've really built up this bit of mountain over here. That's what I've been working on, and it's really straightforward stitching. I only stitched on this one for a couple of days actually, and I did 1,000 stitches in just 2 evenings, because it's real big blocks of colour, so it was quite easy stitching. And I'm stitching this one on 25 count Lugana Easy Guide, and it's 1/1 full cross. So yeah, that's where we are with unicorns at the moment. So on my next update I'll tell you how many stitches I will have done for the year, and I'll do that for all of my full coverage projects at the end of the year. So because I use Pattern Keeper for them, I'm able to give you an update at the end of this year on how many stitches I will have done on each one of these. So that is unicorns. So the next project that I worked on, oops, sorry if I have to keep leaning over there, but I've got all my big projects piled up in a bit of a queue on the floor down here. So the next project I worked on was one I hadn't worked on much last time that I saw you. I did take it out for a couple of evenings this time. So this is a Haid as well. This is my mini. This is So Many Books, So Little Time, and the artwork is by Randall Spangler. Again, I'll put a picture in of where you saw it last time, and also what it looks like when it's finished. And this one I've taken it out of the lap frame that I had it in, because the lap frame broke basically. So I did quite like my little lap frame, and it's something that my husband bought me for Christmas last year. But one of the, where you twist it on to tighten it up, one of the screws, the threads, I think were knackered basically, and it stopped having any tension in it anymore, and I couldn't fix it. So I had to I hadn't got a Q-snap spare to put this in, so I put it in a big hoop, and it's been fine in the big hoop actually, because it's a mini. It's not a massive piece of fabric, this one, so I've just folded it up with a few of these on it just to tame the fabric a bit, and actually I've found it quite easy stitching this in the hoop at the moment. So I've put 800 stitches into this one since I last saw you. So I've done a bit, I've started a bit on the book that he's reading over here, so I've been filling in a bit of that, and then I felt like a bit of a change from doing, if I'm honest, it's a bit boring doing this stonework stuff. I know I've really got to crack on and go back and do it, but I really wanted to work on the little dragling a bit, so I've done quite a lot of the green stitching on him. So I can't remember how much I am complete on this one at the moment. Again, I'll tell you in my next video. So this again is stitched on 25 count Easy Guide, and it's 1/1 full cross. So yeah, that's where we are with this one. And this one's got my favourite needle minder on it, so which is a bee that I got from Just So Heavenly a while ago. I have got some more needle minders on order, but they haven't arrived yet, and I've ordered some from a different shop on Etsy this time, so we'll see what they're like when they come. Okay, so that's my So Many Books. So I've enjoyed stitching this one. Again, I think I told you last time I'd kind of fallen out of love with him a bit, and I think it's because my lap stand had started to play up a little bit, in that I kept losing the tension on it, which is where the thing had gone on it, and I didn't realise. I kept trying to tension it up and it wasn't working, and I think that was part of the reason that I wasn't really feeling it for this project at the time. So since I put it in the hoop, it's a bit easier and more manageable, so it's fine, and I'm back stitching on it again. So that's where we are with So Many Books. So That I think has had, with 800 stitches, that's had the least amount of stitches out of all my full coverage projects. Okay, so next project that I worked on is Magic Forest, which is also a Haid. This one is by Ciro Marchetti. I think that's the way you say his name. I'm not 100% sure. So I apologise if I've got it wrong. But anyway, this is Magic Forest. I put a picture in of what it looks like when it's finished and where you saw it last time. And this one's starting to get quite exciting. So this is where I am with it now. So I have now finished I think 3,300 stitches on this one. So I've carried on working some of this background, which is like obviously part of the forest, but in here now we have some different colour coming through. This is the start of the bird that's in the top corner. So the bird has started to appear quite quickly actually, so which is quite exciting to have something other than this background. I wasn't expecting it. I thought I was going to be stitching this background for ages before I saw anything else, so this was quite exciting. And I know one of my viewers, Sue, who's also stitching this as we're stitching this as a stitch along, by the way, and Sue, one of my viewers who's stitching this, she's really made great progress on this bird, which has been really exciting to see. So yeah, so I am stitching this as a stitch along with Jemima the Rocking Stitcher, and it is Magic Forest Sal. There's a few people doing it over on Instagram, and if anybody else starts it, you're more than welcome to join us. It's really, I need to post a progress pic actually myself, so but yeah, there's a couple of people on there who are way ahead of me with this one, and it's really lovely to see how everyone's progressing on it. So this one I am stitching on 28 count easy guide, and I'm doing this one 2 over 1/10 stitch. So yeah, and I do still park the odd thread now and again if I can't run it through the back of my stitches because there's just not enough there for it, you know, for me to catch it with, then I leave them parked until I've got a bit more stitching done to put them with. So that's Magic Forest. I really like stitching this as well. So I did over 1,000 stitches to get where I am with it, and I really was tempted to carry on actually with the bird, but I really wanted to put some stitching into my other projects as well. So I forced myself to put it down and pick something else up. So that's where we are with Magic Forest. Okay, then the next one that I worked on is probably my favourite piece. So this is Cheese Delivery, and this is charted by Pain Free Crafts, and the artwork is by Chris Dunn. And I'll put a picture in of what it looks like when it's finished and where you saw it last time. And this is where I am with it now. So I have put quite a lot of stitches into this. I've come over this side now because I really want to bring this side and this bit down so that we're kind of meeting across this bit here, and then I can come back to these cheeses again. So I've worked quite a bit on this, finishing off this over here, and I've put a bit more down here. Overall, I think I put 1,400 stitches into this one. And again, I was reluctant to put it down because I really like stitching this project. So for those that haven't watched many of my previous videos, I started this project, I can't remember quite when, but it was as a result of watching Lauren from Flossabilities. She's recently finished a Chris Dunn project, which is Halloween Paisley Rabbit, and she's got another 2 Chris Dunns on the go, one of which is this one, but she's nearly finished hers. I mean, I think she's about 70% complete on hers, and it looks brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So if you want to see one that's almost completed, go and check out Lauren if you haven't already at Flossabilities. I'll put her in the show notes below. But yeah, hers just looks amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, it was because of her that I started this chart, and I'm so glad that I did, because I do love it so much. Again, I'm stitching this one on 28 count easy guide, which is my sweet spot actually. I think all my full coverage going forward will always be 28 count now, and this one is 2/1 10 stitch. So yeah, that's where we are with cheese delivery. And I just, now I've picked it up and looked at it again, I just want to go back to stitching it again. So yeah, there we are with that one. And then my final full coverage that I worked on is also from Pain Free Crafts, and it's also by Chris Dunn, and this is Feast. So I'll put a picture in of where you saw it last time, and also what it looks like when it's finished. And I've put 1,000 stitches into this one. Here we are with it now. The definition on this one is brilliant. Now I've been doing a lot of confetti stitching on this, and in actual fact, the 1,000, I think it was 1,100 stitches actually that I've put into this, and I did spend 5 evenings on it, purely because I wanted to fill in a lot of the little ninja stitches, and get some, so I could solidly see the pattern. And you can really see this hare's ears now. Honestly, the clarity of this picture is super, really super. It's worth all the confetti for that reason. So yeah, it is very confetti heavy compared to cheese delivery, but it's worth it because the clarity of the picture is super. Not that it isn't on cheese delivery, it's lovely on there, but this one is particularly good. So I'm stitching this one on 28 count, but I'm doing this one 1/1 full cross. And actually, at one point I was thinking of swapping to 10 stitch with this one, and actually I'm glad that I didn't now, because I actually like it, the effect of the full cross on this one. Really, really like this project now. Really like it, almost as much as cheese delivery actually. But I have to be in a patient mood to do all the confetti on this one. So yeah, so I really think that having filmed in 3 weeks instead of 2, I've really made some good progress on all my full coverage. Like I say, the one with the least amount of stitching is So Many Books, and even that one had 800 stitches. So yeah, really that extra week really made a bit of a difference. So I think I was going to tell you why I've been missing for 3 weeks. So no really big reason. So the first week after I last filmed, I had my COVID booster jab, which was fine, but it left me feeling I felt a bit under the weather for a couple of days. So I think I had it on the Thursday after I last filmed, and then on the Friday and Saturday, which are normally 2 pretty good stitchy days for me because they're days that I don't work, I didn't want to stitch, just because I didn't feel it all, but I didn't feel, you know, like when you feel as if you're coming down with something. That's what I felt like, and I didn't really stitch hardly at all on either of those days. So I kind of got involved with knitting. I knitted quite a bit, so I caught up a little bit on my knitting WIPs, and I spent one whole day on the Sunday actually making project bags. So yes, I just had a few days where my stitchy bug deserted me a little bit. So that was why I thought, well, I've kind of missed out now on a whole big weekend when I would normally stitch, and I haven't. So I thought, oh, never mind, I'll just leave it a few more days before I make another video. And that by that point, I think we'd got to the beginning of December, and then there's been some brilliant Flossmasses, hasn't there, that a lot of Flosstubers have been doing. And I thought, well, I might just leave it for the minute, because there's that many videos going on, and I've loved watching a few people's Flossmasses. I've been watching Mama Loves You GB, her Flossmas every day. Crafty Emily, love watching her Flossmas every day. I've been watching Jessie Marie does stuff. She's done some Flossmasses as well. So, and Cat V Stitches has been doing like a weekly Flossmas update. So, you know, there's been lots of lovely videos to watch. So I thought, well, it doesn't matter too much if I go on the missing list for an extra week. So that was why you didn't see me for an extra week. Okay, so moving on to my other projects. So the next one that I worked on was Salem Trials the Witch Hunt. This is by the little Stitcher, who has an Etsy shop. There we go. And I'll put a picture in of where you saw it last time. And I haven't spent a lot of time on this one since I last saw you. I think I spent an afternoon on it because I just really wanted to finish that big lady, and I have. So we now have 3 completed ladies, so I just have one more big lady to go, and then I can start on the wording and some of the other stuff. I still haven't gone back and finished backstitching the rest of the wording along here. I've really just concentrated on getting this lady done. So I have done that, I'm pleased to say. And I haven't really felt like stitching Halloween too much at the minute, because obviously all the Christmassy stuff has been about, so I've really concentrated more on my winter projects. So this one I'm stitching on 32 count vintage country mocha, and I am using all the called for DMC. On this one it's 2/2 full cross. So yeah, that's my Salem Trials, but it's coming along. I feel this was a stitch along that I was doing with Ali Stitcher. She has finished hers. So yeah, as per usual, I'm always lagging behind when Ali and I do a sale. I'm surprised she's got the patience to do one with me, to be honest. But there you go. So that's that one. Then the next one that I worked on is my Mirabilia. So I'll put a picture in of where you saw her last time. And this is what she looks like when she's finished. So this is Lady of Mystery. And I like stitching her a lot. So I did spend, I think I've just spent one afternoon on her as well, actually. So I have done a bit more of her hair up here, as you can see. Go back a bit so you can see her a bit better. So yeah, I've spent a lot of time on her hair. I've backstitched in some of the leaves on this bouquet that she's holding. And I've done a bit down here as well. But mostly I've concentrated on her hair because she's got a lot of hair, this lady. Oh, and I did backstitch down this bit, down the back of her arm, etc. as well. I think that's all of my, no, I think I've got one bit of back stitch left around her skin, but mostly all the back stitch around her is finished now. So that's where she's at. So this one I'm stitching on 28 count Zweigart in the colour cream, and she's stitched 2/2 including the skin, and I'm using all the called for DMC and Karen Water Lilies bar 1, which is the black, and I'm using Anchor 403 black instead of 310. Okay, so that's where we are with Lady of Mystery. So she's coming along quite nicely, isn't she, now, I think. So yeah, pleased with her. In fact, I'm quite tempted to work on her this afternoon, actually. Okay, so the next one that I worked on, and I've really done very little on this one, is my Long Dog sampler. So this is Spirit of Clanfair PG, and I'll put a picture in of what it looks like when it's finished, and also where you saw it last time. And all I've done, I've not done really any stitching on this one. I've gone back to do the back stitch on some of this. So all I've done with this is I've back stitched this spoon down here. I put the back stitching on this little spoon here. I didn't get around to back stitch. I literally spent about an hour on this, just putting the back stitch in down here. I did back stitch in another little spoon, but I went wrong with it, so I frogged it out. The frog came for a little visit, and I haven't re-put it back in yet. And I struggled. The reason I didn't do much on this, I struggled with the linen, with seeing properly on this to stitch. I don't know why. I think it was quite a gloomy day. It's quite a gloomy day again today, and even with my magnifier on, I did struggle a bit to see where I was putting the stitches. Oh, and I did come down this border a bit more as well. Is all I did stitching wise on it. So this is stitched on 28 count even weave in the colourway Nogs from Chromatic Alchemy, and I'm using Dinky Dye silks in the colourway Quicksilver, Ghost Gum and Robin's Egg. And this silk here, this variegated silk, is called Peacock Fuchsia, and it's by XJudesigns. And this is 2/2 that I'm stitching this one. So yeah, so I've got back stitching on this spoon here, and then there's a couple of tiny spoons, like I say, that are just back stitch. They're not got any cross stitch in them, and I did stitch one in and mucked it up. So so I've got to go back and do that one. But yeah, so I haven't done much on that at all. So that's where we are with my Long Dog. Next one that I worked on is this one. So this is Clara Henson, and it's by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I'm not stitching the sampler, I'm stitching this little drum over here. And really, if I didn't get distracted by so many other things, I could have had this done by now, because it's pretty easy stitching because it's all one colour. So you know, it's quite straightforward stitching, this one. So I'll put a picture in of where you saw it last time. And I have taken this one out of the little Q-snap I had it in. I had it in a little 6x6 Q-snap, and I didn't like that little Q-snap. It's just too tiny. I'm sure it's fine for little projects, but I just didn't like it, so I've swapped and put it in a hoop instead. And these hoops, I've got a set of 4 of these hoops. 2 of them are really tiny hoops, and then I've got this one which is sort of the next size up. I don't know what size this is, 6 inch maybe, 7 inch. And then I've got a bigger hoop still, which I quite like them. These got left behind by somebody at the hotel. They'd ordered them, and these hoops came in, and the guests had already left, and they'd been hanging around for months, these hoops. And my boss said to me, look, it doesn't look like the lady's going to claim them, and we hadn't got a forwarding address for her. Do you want them? So I was like, yeah, they might come in handy, and actually I quite like them. So yeah, here's where I am with Clara Henson now. So I am stitching this one on 36 count vellum from Picture This Plus, and the silk that I'm using is Mrs. Seddus silk in the colour Darling Bleu. So yeah, it's a really pretty little stitch, this one, isn't it? I am stitching, even though I'm stitching this on 36 count, I am stitching it 2/2 instead of 1/2 because I just wanted it to look a little bit bulkier on the stitching, and to me it doesn't look too bulky at all actually. I quite like it. So yeah, so that's where we are with this one. So that's going to be, I've got a Zoom meeting with the Essex Needles Retreat on Thursday next week, and I think this is going to be my stitch for that. So that's Clara Henson. And then the next one that I worked on, and I've literally had this out for an hour maybe, so I haven't been on any Zoom calls to do any stitching on this one. So this is my Mill Hill kit. This is olive oil, and I'll put a picture in of where you saw it last time. And I haven't progressed it that much, but I haven't got a lot of stitching left to do on this one either, and then I can start beading. And I don't know whether I've put off stitching, finishing the stitching, because I'm a little bit worried about stitching, doing the beads, because I've not done beading before, so I'm a little bit worried about it. I know I shouldn't be, and I'm sure it'll be fine when I start beading it, but yeah, I think it's making me hesitate to finish the piece actually, or finish stitching it, because I know then I've got to bead it. So here's where it is now. So I've worked predominantly over this side, putting in some stitching. I've nearly finished these big blocks of yellow up the top here, and then there's a couple of French knots to go on, which I'll probably put on last. I put the French knots on down here because these bits are completely finished, but there is some beads to go on here as well, so I thought I'll put them on and then do the French knots last. So yeah, I should finish the stitching on this one in the next couple of weeks, and then I can bead it. So we'll see how that goes. And I know I need to bite the bullet and bead it, because I've got another Mill Hill kit that, you know, I want to start after this one. So I do need to crack on and, you know, put my big girl pants on and be a bit brave and do that. Okay, so the next one that I worked on is this one. So the rest of what I'm going to show you are pretty much winter stitching. Oh, actually, I'll show you this one first. So I started on the 1st of December doing a stitch along with Ali Stitcher from Instagram. So Ali and I are regular sale stitchers together. Well, she's always way ahead of me, but it doesn't matter. We seem to like the same sort of stuff, so, and it's quite nice to have someone to stitch along with. So we are doing throughout the year, this year, the Snowflower Diaries Joyful World, which are free charts on Snowflower Diaries blog, which I'll put the details below for you. So this is our Snowflower Diary sale, Snowflower Stitch sale it's called, on Instagram, if you want to join us. Again, I'll put the hashtag for it down below as well. So at the moment we are stitching January. In readiness for being able to display these charts in January. Ali's finished it, I think. I don't think, she's not FFO'd it yet, or she hadn't, she may have done now, but she has finished the stitching, and I of course haven't. So here I am with mine. So I finished like the raven in the middle there and the words in January, and I started a little bit at the border because I just wanted a rough idea of how big it's going to be, and I've started the fox. So I'm stitching this one on 32 count vintage country mocha, and I'm stitching it 2/2, and I am not using the called for colours. I am using some, but not all. So Snowflower Diaries are asked for some DMC and some gentle arts, I think. I have used one gentle art because I did have it in my stash. So this is apple cider. But then I have got a couple of DMCs that I am going to use. There's a yellow one. I can't remember what the other one is that I've got. But the other flosses that I'm using are Owl Forest embroidery flosses. So I bought some of their Owl in a Poke random floss bags a little while ago, which came with a selection of 10 flosses in each bag. And I've literally picked out a selection of them to use in these charts. So I have changed out the floss from the called for, which I think was Fragrant Cloves, and I have got the called for, but it's more orangey than this. I've done the fox in quite a reddy orange, and it's quite variegated, which hopefully you can see there. The white that I'm using is an Owl Forest white, and actually, as whites go, it's not bad to use. And then this is a dark Owl Forest colour that I've used as well. So I'm quite pleased with the effect of this one, and I need to crack on and finish it so I can be ready to start February in January. And February's chart is so cute, but I'll show you that next time, I think, on my plans. So yes, so I need to finish it by the end of the month, but I have only got 1 day left to work, so I've got to go to work on Monday, and then after that I'm off for Christmas until the 4th of January. So that hopefully gives me plenty of time to get this stitched up and FFO'd, and I think I'm going to stitch this into sort of a flat fold, and stick it on a little easel like Sarah showed the monthly little charts that she's doing by Crochet to Go-Go, and she's putting them on a little easel, and I liked that idea, so I'm going to pinch that, Sarah, to put these on a little easel, I think. So yeah, and this needle minder that I'm using on this one, I really like this little needle minder. It's got little turtles on it. Is from the Bad Shack on Etsy. So that's that one, and then the next one that I worked on is by Sweet Wing Studio, and I started this on my last video that I showed you, so I'll put a picture in where you saw it last time, and I hadn't done very much. On it. Here is what the chart looks like when it's finished. This is Sweater Weather, and I just like it. I think it's really cute and obviously wintry. I do like snowmen, so this is quite a primitive-y looking snowman, I think. So here is where I am with it. So I've been carrying on with the snowman's sweater, and I'm a bit slow with stitching this one because the white on this one, so I am using the called for white, which is B5200, but you can't really see it on the camera, but the little bits, some of the little bits of the snowflake, I've swapped out the B5200 and I'm using Blanc Etoile. And with that, because Chris Cross Stitching showed on one of his videos recently, he's stitching a Christmas piece, and he had stitched something in Blanc Etoile, and he wasn't very happy with the colouring that it looked. And actually, when my blanket toile came, I absolutely get, Chris, what you meant, because I wasn't very happy with it. I thought it didn't look very white. It looked very sort of off-white looking, grey looking. Anyway, I decided to experiment. So instead of stitching, I'm stitching this with 2/2, and I am using all the called for, which is DMC and I think a couple of weeks dye works, no, classic colour works, and but obviously that blank DMC Etoile I thought I would put to add a little bit of sparkle to this. Anyway, after seeing Chris cross stitching, and by the way, if there's anyone on the planet who hasn't seen Chris, then go and check him out, because he is very entertaining. He doesn't just talk about his cross stitch, he has all sorts going on. He tells little stories, and he has Chris's toy box, and yeah, got really amusing to watch. I really like watching Chris. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. I digress. So I decided to use the Etoile in 4 strands instead of 2, just to see if it looked a little more effective, and it does. You cannot see it on the screen, but it looks a lot better using 4 strands rather than 2. And it doesn't look lumpier or anything like that. I'm really quite pleased with it, actually. So the fabric that I'm using for this one is a 32 count even weave called, I think, I'm not very good at pronouncing this, it's Kuon, which is from Chromatic Alchemy. It's like a really, you can't see it that well, but it's a really bluey, grey blue, I would say. And this needle minder's my only Christmassy needle minder, actually, and it is from Just So Heavenly. So that's where we are with Sweater Weather. And then the next one that I worked on was this one. This is from Tralala, and it's Tabletin d'Hiver, which is this one. So this is a nice little wintry piece. I really like this little stitch. I'll put a picture in of the start I made on it last time, because I started it, I showed it to you on my last video. So here we are with it now. So I've finished the little deer, and I've started on the first little mushroom, or toadstool rather. And I'm stitching this one on a 32 counts natural linen from Zweigart, or raw linen, and it's got a gold flecks to this one, which I haven't had a problem stitching with the opalescent. I have got another project that's on an opalescent fabric. I don't have an issue with it, to be honest. So yeah, isn't that deer cute? Really cute. I really like this. So that's where I am with that one. Oh, and I'm stitching it 2/2 using all the called for, and all the called for on this are DMC. And then I had another little new start, which I intended to start on my last video and didn't. So but since then I have had time to start it. So I am stitching White Christmas, the colours of Christmas. This is my only Christmassy. The other two I think are more wintry rather than Christmas. This is proper Christmas though, this one. So I'm stitching this one here, which is the reindeer, I think he is, with the little rabbit on his back. And he's got these gorgeous antlers with little, like a little candelabra. So this, all these 4 charts only use 4 colours of DMC. The white used on these is 3865, which is my preferred white out of them all. I don't know why, but it seems to stitch a bit nicer than blank is the one I like the least, and B5200 isn't much better, but 3865 isn't quite as bad, I don't think, in my opinion. You may think differently. So I'm using one of those little hoops again for this, actually, and because it is a little project, it does fit in a little hoop fine. So I've just started the white stitching of the deer itself, and again I'm using some sparkly fabric. So this is again 32 counts what I got in raw, but this one, the sparkle, the opalescent on this one is silver, as opposed to stitching Tralala in the gold. Yeah, so that's where we are. Just a little start on this one, and it just occurred to me as I started stitching this the other day. I thought, you hate stitching white, Elaine. It is not your favourite thing to do, as it isn't for a lot of stitchers, I know. So why are you stitching white on 3 different projects? So I must be mad, mustn't I? So I don't think that my stitching looks too bad on this, actually. It is taking me longer than it would normally take me to stitch, because I am railroading the top leg of my stitches on this one, just in the hope it makes them look a little bit nicer. So yeah, but I just thought, yeah, 3 white projects. Now I know why I'm not so keen on stitching winter and Christmas. And I had to pick the white version of this. So this particular chart, I think she does in a blue as well, but most of my decorations in my house are white and silver. I have got some icy blue, but predominantly, yeah, it's whites and silvers, and so this went better. But yeah, white stitching. Oh, bring on the summer when I haven't got to do white stitching anymore. Okay, so I have got a planned new start for Christmas Day, and part of my haul, because we'll go on to haul now, part of my haul this time, or a lot of my haul, has been floss. So I bought some Weeks Dye Works for a project that I am starting on Christmas Day, and I'm not going to show it to you. I'll show it to you when I start it. So I'll show it on my next video. And I have finished kitting up the full coverage project that I am going to start with Kaylee. I think it's Cruff. I'm sorry, Kaylee, if I've said the second bit of your Instagram name wrong. But anyway, most people know Kaylee on Instagram. Her and I are starting Adrian Border's Alice in Wonderland, which is charted by Unconventional Cross Stitch, and we are starting that as our 2022 New Year's Day start. Kaylee's been waiting patiently to start it, and Linda's 144 Hobby, she's going to stitch it with us, and she's already started hers. And yeah, and now I've got the floss for it, and I bought myself a new bobbin box, because I like to bobbinate my big projects. I don't with the little ones, I use floss drops for them, but the big ones, I've got one set of Annie's Keepers actually that I use for so many books, but the rest of my full coverage are all bobbinated, and I enjoy watching TV while I'm busy bobbinating up a project. It's great. So yeah, I can't remember how many flosses there are. There's 90 something, I think, in that particular project, but we're starting that on New Year's Day, and I cannot wait. I've also just ordered a project bag from Kaylee. It hasn't come yet because she's in Canada, so I'm not expecting to get it anytime soon, but Kaylee has got her own shop on Instagram. It's called the Sewing Shop .ca, I think. Anyway, she makes fabulous project bags, so if you haven't been and had a look at Kaylee's shop, go and check it out, and when my project bag arrives I will show you, because her project bags are just amazing. So anyway, which leads me nicely onto haul. So that's a bit of haul I've got to come that hasn't arrived yet. Like I said, I bought some floss. I bought a new Q-snap while I was at it to put Alice in, because I thought I'd stick it in a Q-snap, because still there is no sign of my Millennium frame or my necessaire stand from Needful Needs, still not arrived, and it's now been over a year since I placed that order. Okay, and I was so tempted to cancel it, I really was, and I thought, well, I've waited a year for it, so, you know, what the heck, I might as well keep waiting for it now. Okay, so, haul. I have got the latest instalment from Patchwork Rabbit of the auto ship that I do with them, which is Country Cottage Needleworks, their little sampler series. And I'm really sorry, but these pictures never ever show up very well on my YouTube, so I'm so sorry for that. But this is December's sampler of the month. I haven't started stitching any of these yet. I'm just collecting all the charts. This is something else that Lauren from Flossabilities got me into, because she showed all these little charts, and I liked them so much. I thought, I've got to have those. And Patchwork Rabbit were doing them as buy one a month, and I thought, oh yeah, at least I know I'm going to get some haul every month. So I signed up for that one, so that's that. And then I wasn't planning on getting any, well, I was planning on getting another chart, because I wanted to get the Fox, which is the latest offering from Cottage Garden Samplings. I haven't been able to get it because it's out of stock everywhere, because a few people beat me to it and had obviously also seen that they were bringing it out. So it's a year-long theme that Cottage Garden Samplings are doing, called A Year in the Woods. So I'm not desperate to stitch it. I'll watch everybody else's. But I do like it. The first one is the Fox, and it's beautiful, and I'm sure most of you have probably seen that chart, because I know some of the big Flosstubers have been showing it. But so I was planning on getting that, but like I say, it's out of stock. But I will get it when I can get it at some point. However, I was on Instagram the other day, and Steve from Crafty Stitchers UK showed this chart, and I just went and bought it straight away. So, and I'm sure this one's doing the rounds on Instagram now as well. So this is the latest offering from Our Forest Embroidery, and it is their black sampler. Now, I have never wanted to stitch a black sampler. There are beautiful ones out there. I really love a lot of them, but I hadn't really seen one that particularly caught my eye until I saw this. And I just took one look at what Steve showed and went trotted straight over to Our Forest and bought it. So, and it's very reasonably priced as well, this chart, very reasonably priced. So, but look at it, isn't it beautiful? So I think you've got everything you could ever want from a sampler on this, with people, with a house, with animals. You know, it's really fun. What a super chart. Our Forest are doing a floss pack that goes with this as well, and again, that's very reasonably priced. I think they've called the floss Salt and Pepper. I haven't ordered the floss because I want to stitch this in a variegated silk. So like I thought maybe I won't stitch it in just dense black. I'd like to do kind of a black that's variegated into greys maybe, but I can't find quite what I'm looking for at the minute. I did go and have a look on Mrs. Seddus' site, couldn't find anything on there. There was one that's an option on Silks For You that I quite liked. They'd got a black variegated. There's a Dinky Dyes one that I quite like as well. So I haven't quite made my mind up with that. And then with regards to the fabric, I think I might go with a really pale Swigart pale grey Zweigart fabric. I don't know. I haven't quite made my mind up, but I love that chart so much. It wasn't in my plans at all, but it now is. I don't quite know when I've made a decision about fabric and floss, I think I'll have to start it, because I'm just itching to start it. So yeah, what a chart. I just love it. Okay, so that I immediately went and purchased. I also bought 2 pieces of fabric, one because I have a specific project in mind for it, and the other one just because I saw it in stock and thought, oh, I'll have a bit of that. So the first one I bought, I got from 123 Stitch, so I have had a bit of haul from them in the last couple of weeks arrive. So I bought this piece of fabric, so it's not really showing very true to colour, apologies. This is Weeks Dye Works Dolphin, and this is Old Weeks, I think. Anyway, this is 36 count Dolphin. I have got this fabric already in a 32 count, and it is for a specific chart. I really want to stitch a traditional sampler, and if you remember, I think on my last video I showed you I just bought a Hands Across the Sea chart, but prior to buying that I've also got a chart by the Scarlet House called Sarah Jackson, which came out last year, and it calls for Weeks Dye Works Dolphin as the call for fabric, and I bought that fabric at the time in a 32 count. The called for is actually a 36, and so I thought, well, I'd rather stitch it in the count that they're asking for. So 123 Stitch had this in stock, so I thought, well, I'll get it. So I've got it, and it is for Sarah Jackson, and I have bought most of the floss that I need for Sarah Jackson as well. So I'm going to start that at some point because it fits with my WIP go for next year, and we'll talk about WIP go in a minute. This is going to be quite a long video, this one. I know my videos are normally an hour, but we may tip over the hour. In fact, I think we will tip over the hour this time. But you know, you haven't seen me for 3 weeks, so it doesn't matter, does it? The other piece of fabric that I bought is a piece of Picture This Plus, because you know me and my love affair with Picture This Plus fabric. So this is a 36 count. I have also purchased this in a 40 count as well. This is Mirage, which is in actual fact the call for fabric for that Fox chart that I was telling you about. But at the time when I ordered this, this I got from Patchwork Rabbit actually, not from 123 Stitch. But I didn't order this with that Fox chart in mind. I just ordered it because it was one of the few Picture This Pluses that Patchwork Rabbit had left in stock. So I've got quite a big piece of that. So I do think actually when that Fox becomes available again, I have got some fabric for it. So that was that. So that is all of my haul that I'm going to show you. I did get some trims. I didn't just buy one piece of fabric from 123 Stitch. I bought some Lady Dot Creates, but I'm not going to show you those. I mean, I just bought some black chenille trim, and I bought some white chenille trim. I think it's called Snow. The black one's called Licorice. The white one's called Snow. The white one is for my little white Christmas stitches when I ever complete them. I've got the white trim to go around the outside of, because I'm going to make those into little pillows. And I bought some Lady Dot Creates velvets as well, a couple of those. So that was, I didn't even buy any charts from 123 Stitch this time. Shock horrors. Because they didn't have the Fox one in either. So there you go. I think most of the stitching world must have purchased that chart at the minute. Okay, Stitchy mail. So I did get some more floss drops, and I think this is the last of the floss drops that I had exchanged with people, and I've almost run out of them now, to be honest. My box is almost empty, so I've managed to get rid of 500 floss cards around and about. So the ones that I received this time, so I just got these ones this morning actually. These are from, I'm sorry Shelley if I pronounce your name wrong, but it's Shelley Heinbor, I think, who over on Instagram, and she sent me these lovely little ones. Shelley is in the US. That chart on the top there, I know that's a famous Blackbird Designs chart. I can't remember what it's called. Is it Midnight Ride? I'm sure somebody will tell me, but I haven't got that chart, but I'd really like it. I really like that bird. So yeah, I got those. Aren't they pretty? They're really pretty. And then I got these ones from Ramona WB on Insta. So this one, they're lovely as well, I think, really pretty. And these ones made me laugh. So I got these from Nanette McDougall on Instagram, and here we go. Oops, sorry, they're a bit glary, aren't they? So they say, I came, I saw, I forgot what I was doing, retraced my steps and got distracted on my way back. I've no idea what's going on and now I have to pee. That's me, that is. For definite, that's me. So yeah, I really, really like those. They did make me chuckle. Okay, so what's next? Oh, let me show you my finish. So I'm going to show you my finish, and then I've got a giveaway for you because it's Christmas and I'd like to do a giveaway, and then I'm just going to talk to you about my reading very briefly. Okay, and also my next video, because that's going to be quite exciting, or it is for me. I hope you will think so too. I'm sorry, these are not, I've worn these, and so they've been in the washing machine and they haven't come out. I don't iron socks, so they're not like neatly pressed or anything, but I finished a pair of socks, which is these ones. So these are the yarn on these ones is called Blue Tip, which is a West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply sock yarn. I do really like their yarn to knit socks with. It's really lovely yarn to knit with. So they're not a perfect match, these ones. As Tina from Simply in Stitches would say, these are sisters rather than twins. So that's my socks, and like I say, I have worn them. So I am knitting another pair of socks at the moment in a yarn that I showed you before. I am knitting some sparkly ones for Christmas. They're in Silent Night, which is also a West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. I've nearly finished the first sock of those, so probably I'll carry on with them tonight while I'm watching the Strictly Come Dancing final. How exciting, can't wait to watch that this evening. Bit of a shame that AJ has damaged her ankle and can't be in it, but I'm really looking forward to seeing the other guys that are still in the final. But I'll probably be knitting that sock while I'm at it, so I might finish the first sock tonight. So hopefully by the time I film again you'll see another sock. And I was going to start a little shawl or cowl, actually, using like a feather and fan pattern. And I was going to use, I bought some yarn which I showed you a couple of videos ago. It's a hand dyed yarn from Lay Family Farm. I'm not going to get it out and show you, but it's a disaster. So I got the yarn out to make this cowl, start this cowl that I was going to do. and stupidly I left it out to sort it out because it needed to be, it was in a big skein and it needs balling up ready to use. So I'd unclipped, I'd started balling it up, and so obviously I'd, you know, taken the bits out that you get around the yarn to hold it in place. I've taken those off. I left it hanging over the back of a chair while I was at work, and one of my dogs thought she would do some knitting while I was at work, and she took it off the back of the chair and kindly brought it into the lounge, and it's a mess. It's the only, anybody who has skeins that, you know, you need to put them into balls, there's a bit of a knack to doing it, into keeping it straight while you're balling it up so that you don't end up with a hot mess. Mine is a hot mess, seriously. Where Hope's had it and dragged it through the lounge, it's now just a big ball of mess. How I'm ever going to sort it out, if anyone's got any tips for sorting it out, please tell me, because at the moment I don't know how I'm ever going to unknot it to use it, and it's such a shame because it wasn't a cheap ball of yarn. Anyway, sorry, I digress again. Okay, let's do my giveaway. So I did mention that I made some project bags, and I sent a couple off to a couple of people who have been very kind to me, and I really wanted to thank them. So I know that you got them, and I hope you really like them, guys. So it's the first time I've given any of my project bags away, because I figured they were just about good enough to give away. If you'd have seen the first efforts I ever made, I do use them, but they most certainly are not ones that I would give to anybody. Okay, so I had a couple left, and I decided I will do a giveaway with one of them, and then the other one I will use myself. So if you win my giveaway, you will win one of my project bags. So here I'll show you the choice of the ones that I've got. So these are the ones I've made. So I made two of these, and I gifted one, and this is the other one. So it's got a little bell charm on it, and on the back are these little gongs or gnomes. Aren't they sweet? I really like this. It's quite Christmassy, isn't it? So I don't quilt the back of my bags because, if I'm really honest, I've never quilted anything in my life, and I wouldn't have a clue how to do it. So, but they're, you know, they're quite nice bags to put a project in. So that's one, and then the other one is this one. So this is a pinky coloured one. Again, I put a little charm on it. It's got a little reindeer on this one, and this is the back. So really Christmassy, again, with owls and polar bears and things on it. I really like the fabric for this too. So if you win the giveaway, you will win one of these, and you will get the choice of which one you would like, and then I will keep the other one because I'd be very happy to keep either of them. So if you would like the opportunity to enter for the giveaway, please use the word project. Project is the word I will be looking for on Random Comment Picker. All the usual rules, of course, apply. Please don't use the words giveaway, freebie, free, or any of that kind of stuff. You know the gen. Please don't use any of those words in your comments, because I want one of you to win it and not a troll. Please be a subscriber, and yeah, I look forward to getting some comments from you. So the word is project, and I will draw that on my next video. Obviously, unfortunately you won't get a project bag in time for Christmas, but hopefully it'll be something to look forward to in the new year, and I will ship it internationally, so I don't mind where you are in the world. I have noticed that the mail is very slow at the moment, so you know, it may take a little while, we're going through another round of COVID here in the UK, where our case rates have gone up dramatically. Our hospitalisations are not quite as bad, you know, and the government are desperately trying to get everybody boosted up for it. But, you know, the result of the rise in COVID is that the mail has started to take a bit longer than usual. So that's that. So that's my project bag giveaway. And then finally, two things. So first of all, my next video. So my next video is going to be a little bit different to my usual one. I'm going to do a WIP parade, probably along with the rest of Flosstube, and I'm going to film it on either the 30th or the 31st during the daytime. I'm not sure which yet. One of those 2 days, right at the end of the month anyway. So I will do a WIP parade of all of my WIPs, of which I haven't got masses. I think I've got 23 WIPs, I think. And it'll be good to get some of them out and have a look at them, actually, because I haven't seen them for a while, some of them. And some of them I haven't seen for a long while. So I'm going to do my WIP parade, and I'm going to do my plans for next year, and a little bit of a look back at this year. So I'm going to show you my WIP Go board for 2021, and some of you may be a bit surprised when you see that. And I wasn't going to participate in WIP Go 2022, but I am. I have changed my WIP Go board for 2022 quite dramatically, and hopefully for those of you that are a bit put off by you know, being told what to stitch on, and even if it's you that's told yourself what to stitch on, for those of you that don't like to do that, maybe you might like my idea for WIP Go. You may not, so but it's, you know, it's an alternative for you. So I will do my WIP parade and my WIP Go plans for 2022 for you, and I will have had my new start for Christmas Day as well. So that will be on my next video, which, like I say, I'm going to film that on either the 30th or the 31st. I'm not sure which yet. And then finally, books. So I am an avid reader, and always have been for ever since I was old enough to start reading. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always had a book on the go, always. You know, when times have been tough and I've been short of money, I've still always gone, you know, in my younger days when I was always out partying and all that kind of stuff. Back in the day, I never had any money to spend on anything else, but I always had enough money to buy a book. Even if it was from the charity shop, I always had a book, always. And I would be lost if I didn't have something to read. So I always have a fiction novel on the go, normally to go to sleep with at night. And I always have a non-fiction book as well on the go, which I normally have for when I'm in the bath, or, you know, that kind of, when I'm a bit more awake than just before I nod off to sleep. So my fiction books I read on my Kindle normally, because my Kindle's great for reading in bed. My husband can be asleep in the dark, and I've got the light on my Kindle, which doesn't disturb him, so I can just read my books. And I like all kinds of authors, and perhaps I'll pick my books of the year maybe at the end of the year as to which ones I've liked the most. But one book that I really wanted to share with you as fellow stitchers is this one. So I've almost finished reading this one, and I've enjoyed it so much I thought I'd share it with you. So it's not a new book, as in it's not recently published. I think it was first published in 2016. So my non-fiction books, I tend to read the book, like I say, and not just have it on Kindle. So this is the book. It's got a hair on it, sorry. This is the book. It's called The Button Box, and the author is Lynn Knight. And like I say, I think it's printed in 2016. And basically it's tells the story of women at home and in work. I'll tell you what it says on the back. So, a wooden box holds the buttons of 3 generations of women in Lynn Knight's family, each one with its own tale to tell, tracing the story of women at home and in work from the jet buttons of Victorian mourning to the short skirts of the 1960s, taking in suffragettes, bachelor girls, little dressmakers, Bieber and the hankering for vintage. The button box lifts the lid on women's lives with elegance and wit. It is a really good book, really good. So anybody who likes a bit of history, and I do love social history in particular, you know, I do read about the big events like, you know, the royal family and wars and things like that. I do have read about the disasters and whatever, but I really am more fascinated by the lives of ordinary people. And this book is that. It's really good. It's called The Button Box. So anyone who's interested, you know, go and get it. Anyway, I think I've dotted about all over the place a bit with this video. So sorry if it's been a bit of a mix-up. Anyway, I'll leave it there for now. So I think this video is going to be about 1 hour and 20 or something like that by the time I've edited and put some pictures in, but never mind. I can feel that I do need a cup of tea, so I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I would just like to wish every one of you a really happy Christmas or happy holidays for those of you that don't celebrate Christmas. I hope you all have a wonderful time with your families. I hope you all have the opportunity to get lots of stitching in. I hope Santa brings you some stitchy gifts. So yeah, I wish you all a wonderful time. So from my family to your family, a very, very happy Christmas. Stay safe, take care everybody, and I will see you all again in a couple of weeks. Happy stitching. Bye for now.